A chance encounter. In the vibrant heart of Los Angeles, where dreams and reality often collided, a new day began with the sun casting its golden rays over the skyline. Among the bustling streets and the symphony of city life, a man known for his towering presence and gentle spirit was on a quest that would soon change his life. This man was not just any celebrity, he was Marcus "Big Mac" Carter, a retired basketball player whose legacy extended beyond the court. Dressed in a simple gray hoodie and jeans, he blended seamlessly into the crowd, his casual attire belying the greatness he had achieved. As he strolled down Wilshire Boulevard, Big Mac felt a sense of purpose guiding him. He had spent years in the limelight, but now he sought something deeper, a connection to his community that transcended fame. His heart was set on finding a vintage car, not just for collection but as a symbol of hope and resilience for those who had lost their way. He envisioned this car as part of a project aimed at inspiring young people to believe in themselves and pursue their dreams. His first stop was a quaint coffee shop nestled between towering glass buildings. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafted through the air as he pushed open the door, greeted by the familiar jingle of bells. The barista, a young woman named Lily with bright blue hair and an infectious smile, looked up and beamed at him. "Big Mac. What can I get you today?" she asked, her enthusiasm palpable. "Hey there, Lily. Just a black coffee today, please," he replied, his voice warm and inviting. As she prepared his drink, they exchanged pleasantries about life after basketball. Big Mac shared his vision for the vintage car project, explaining how he wanted to use it to connect with youth in underprivileged neighborhoods. "That sounds amazing. You've always been about giving back," Lily said as she handed him his coffee. "I can't wait to see what you do with it." With gratitude in his heart, Big Mac left the shop and continued on his journey. He wandered through the streets of Los Angeles, absorbing the energy around him. Each step brought him closer to his goal, a vintage car that would serve as a beacon of hope. After some time exploring various dealerships, he found himself standing outside an upscale luxury car dealership. The building gleamed with polished glass and chrome accents that reflected the sun's brilliance. Inside, vehicles worth hundreds of thousands lined the showroom floor, like precious jewels awaiting their rightful owners. As he stepped inside, Big Mac felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. This place was known for its exclusivity. It catered to high-profile clients who could afford luxury without question. He took a deep breath and reminded himself that he was here for a purpose greater than material wealth. His eyes scanned the showroom until they landed on an exquisite vintage Mustang tucked away in a corner. The car's classic lines and vibrant red paint called to him like an old friend. It represented not just nostalgia but also dreams realized against all odds. Just as he approached the vehicle, an authoritative voice interrupted his thoughts. "Can I help you?" It was Victor, the dealership manager, a man whose demeanor radiated judgment rather than hospitality. Big Mac turned to face him, maintaining his composure, despite sensing Victor's disdainful gaze lingering on his attire. "I'm interested in this Mustang," he replied calmly. Victor's expression hardened. "Are you sure you can afford to be in here? This is not a place for casual shoppers." The word stung more than Big Mac expected. He had encountered skepticism throughout his life, especially during his rise to fame, but this felt different. It wasn't just about money, it was about respect and recognition of one's worth beyond appearances. "I'm not here just to buy a car," Big Mac said firmly but politely. "I want this Mustang for a project that aims to inspire young people in my community." Victor scoffed at this revelation, crossing his arms defiantly. "Inspiration doesn't come cheap. You should know that." Big Mac felt anger bubbling beneath the surface, but chose to channel it into something constructive. Instead of reacting impulsively, he took a moment to reflect on Victor's words. Perhaps this encounter could serve as an opportunity, not just for himself but for others who faced similar judgments based on their appearances or circumstances. "Let me show you something," Big Mac said suddenly, surprising even himself with his assertiveness. He pulled out his phone and opened social media, scrolling through posts from young people sharing their struggles and triumphs, stories of overcoming adversity against all odds. He turned his screen toward Victor. "Look at these stories," he urged passionately. "Each one represents someone fighting their own battle, someone who needs hope and encouragement." Victor glanced at the screen but remained unimpressed. "That's nice and all, but it doesn't change my policy here." Frustration welled up within Big Mac as he realized that Victor's mindset might be unchangeable today, but perhaps not forever. He decided then that this moment would not define him or deter him from pursuing his mission. "Fine," Big Mac said with newfound determination as he stepped back from Victor's judgmental glare. "If you can't see beyond your own biases today, I'll find another way." With that declaration hanging in the air like an unspoken challenge, Big Mac turned away from Victor and walked toward the exit, leaving behind not only an unyielding manager but also a seed of inspiration planted within himself. As he stepped back into the sunlight outside the dealership, Big Mac felt lighter, despite the confrontation inside. He knew this journey was more than just finding a car, it was about challenging perceptions and inspiring others to rise above adversity. With renewed resolve coursing through him, he took out his phone again and began drafting plans for community outreach events centered around mentorship and empowerment through storytelling, just like those young voices shared online. The road less traveled. As Big Mac stepped away from the luxury car dealership, he felt a surge of determination. The encounter with Victor had ignited a fire within him, pushing him to reflect on his own journey and the many obstacles he had faced throughout his life. He knew that if he wanted to make a difference, he needed to channel this energy into action. With his mind racing, Big Mac decided to head to a community center he often visited. It was a place where young people gathered to learn, play, and share their dreams. As he walked through the familiar streets, he recalled his own childhood, growing up in a neighborhood where hope often felt out of reach. He remembered the mentors who had inspired him, guiding him through adversity and encouraging him to believe in himself. Upon arriving at the community center, Big Mac was greeted by the warm smiles of familiar faces. The walls were adorned with vibrant murals depicting local heroes and stories of triumph over hardship. He made his way to the main hall, where a group of teenagers was gathered for an after-school program. "Hey everyone!" Big Mac called out, his voice booming with enthusiasm. The room fell silent as the teens turned to see who had entered. When they recognized him, their faces lit up with excitement. "Big Mac! What are you doing here?" one of the young men exclaimed, rushing over to shake his hand. "I came to talk about something important," Big Mac replied, gesturing for them to gather around. "I want to share my vision for a new project that I believe can inspire all of you." Curiosity sparked in their eyes as they settled down on the floor, eager to hear what he had to say. Big Mac took a deep breath and began recounting his recent experience at the car dealership, the judgment he faced and how it motivated him to take action. "I know what it's like to be underestimated," he said, looking each of them in the eye. "But I also know that we have the power to change our narratives. I want us to create something together, a community project centered around storytelling and mentorship." The room buzzed with excitement as Big Mac explained his idea. They would collect stories from their peers, tales of struggle, resilience, and triumph, and turn them into a multimedia presentation that could inspire others. They would showcase these stories at local events and share them on social media platforms. "I want you all to be involved," he continued passionately. "Your voices matter, and your experiences can inspire others who might be going through similar challenges." As he spoke, Big Mac saw their enthusiasm grow. Hands shot up as they began sharing their ideas for how they could bring this project to life. One girl named Jasmine suggested they create videos featuring local youth sharing their stories directly. "That way, we can reach more people," she exclaimed. Another young man named David proposed organizing workshops where they could teach storytelling techniques and help each other refine their narratives. Big Mac nodded enthusiastically at their suggestions. "Exactly. We can even partner with local businesses for sponsorships and support. This is about creating a ripple effect, showing everyone that no matter where you come from or what you've faced, there's always hope." As the meeting progressed, they brainstormed logistics and timelines for their project. Big Mac felt invigorated by their energy and creativity, It reminded him of why he had chosen this path in the first place, to uplift others and foster a sense of community. After several hours of planning, they wrapped up the session with renewed excitement. Big Mac stood before them once more, feeling grateful for the opportunity to connect with these young individuals who embodied resilience and potential. "Remember," he said firmly as they began to disperse, "this project isn't just about telling stories, it's about changing lives, yours and others. Let's make it unforgettable." As he left the community center that evening, Big Mac felt a sense of fulfillment wash over him. He knew that this was just the beginning of something transformative, not only for himself but for everyone involved in this initiative. The following days were filled with planning sessions, brainstorming meetings, and outreach efforts as Big Mac and the teens worked tirelessly on their project. They reached out to local schools and organizations, inviting students from various backgrounds to share their stories. One afternoon, while sitting in a cafe with Jasmine and David, they discussed potential venues for their first storytelling event. "What about that park downtown?" Jasmine suggested excitedly. "It's spacious and has a stage we could use." David nodded in agreement. "And it's right in the heart of the community. We could draw a crowd there." Big Mac smiled at their enthusiasm. "Great idea. Let's reach out to the city council for permission and start promoting it on social media." As they finalized details for the event, Big Mac couldn't shake off an underlying feeling that something significant was brewing, a sense that this project would not only impact those involved but also touch countless lives beyond their immediate circle. However, amidst all this excitement lay challenges yet unseen. While planning was underway, Victor's words still echoed in his mind, a reminder of how some people viewed success only through monetary lenses rather than through impact or character. One evening after another long day of planning sessions at the community center, Big Mac found himself reflecting on Victor's attitude while sitting on his porch with a cup of herbal tea in hand. He realized that not everyone would understand or support their mission, some would remain stuck in their narrow perspectives. But rather than allowing negativity to deter him or his team from pursuing their goals, Big Mac resolved to use it as fuel that would propel them forward in creating change within their community. With renewed determination coursing through him like electricity, Big Mac set out on an evening walk through his neighborhood, a ritual that always helped clear his mind. As he strolled past familiar sights, the basketball courts where he honed his skills as a child, the laughter of children playing echoed around him like music. He paused momentarily at one court where youngsters were practicing shooting hoops under dim streetlights. Their joy reminded him why he started this journey, to inspire hope among those who felt lost or forgotten. Suddenly struck by inspiration once more, Big Mac pulled out his phone and began drafting ideas for an upcoming workshop titled "Shooting for Your Dreams." It would combine basketball skills training with storytelling sessions, empowering youth not only physically but mentally as well. The first event. The days turned into weeks, and the excitement surrounding Big Mac's community project continued to grow. With each planning session, the group of young people transformed from mere participants into passionate advocates for their cause. They named their initiative Voices of Resilience, a title that encapsulated their mission to share stories of triumph over adversity. As the date for their first event approached, the team worked tirelessly to finalize details. They secured the downtown park for their storytelling session, designed vibrant flyers to promote it, and even reached out to local businesses for sponsorships. Big Mac was amazed at how quickly the community rallied around them, eager to support a project that aimed to uplift and inspire. One afternoon, as they gathered at the community center for a final planning meeting, Big Mac could sense a mix of nerves and excitement in the air. The teens were buzzing with energy, but he also noticed a hint of anxiety among them. "Hey everyone," he said, raising his hands to quiet the chatter. "I know we're all excited about the event, but I want to remind you that it's okay to feel nervous. This is a big step for all of us, and sharing our stories takes courage." Jasmine nodded, her brow furrowed. "I just hope people show up." "What if no one comes?" Big Mac smiled reassuringly. "Remember, it's not just about the number of people who attend, it's about the impact we make on those who do. Every voice matters, and every story has the power to inspire change. David chimed in, and we've done an amazing job promoting it. We've reached out to schools and posted on social media. I'm sure we'll have a good turnout. With renewed confidence, they wrapped up their meeting and headed home to prepare for the big day. Big Mac spent that night reflecting on his own journey, the struggles he had faced in his career and how those experiences had shaped him into the person he was today. He felt a deep sense of gratitude for the opportunity to give back and help others find their voices. On the day of the event, the sun shone brightly in a clear blue sky as Big Mac arrived at the park early in the morning. He was greeted by a flurry of activity, teens setting up chairs, arranging decorations, and testing sound equipment. The atmosphere was electric with anticipation. As families began to arrive, Big Mac felt his heart swell with pride. He watched as young people greeted their neighbors, welcoming them with smiles and enthusiasm. It was a beautiful sight, a community coming together to celebrate resilience and hope. By noon, the park was filled with laughter and chatter as attendees settled into their seats. Big Mac took a moment to look around at the crowd, families, friends, mentors, each person there to support the youth who had worked so hard to put this event together. Welcome everyone! Big Mac called out as he stepped onto the makeshift stage. The crowd quieted down as he began to speak. Thank you all for being here today. This event is about celebrating our stories, our struggles and triumphs, and how we can inspire each other through our experiences. The audience erupted into applause as Big Mac introduced Jasmine and David, who would be leading the first storytelling segment. They stepped forward nervously but confidently shared their personal stories. Jasmine spoke about overcoming bullying at school, while David shared his journey through family challenges that had shaped him. As they spoke, Big Mac watched as their vulnerability resonated with the audience. People nodded along, some even wiped away tears as they connected with these heartfelt narratives. It was clear that each story had struck a chord, a reminder that they were not alone in their struggles. After several more stories were shared by other participants, Big Mac took a moment to address the crowd again. What you've heard today are not just stories, they are powerful reminders of our strength and resilience, he said passionately. We all face challenges in life, but it's how we respond that defines us. The audience erupted into applause once more as Big Mac felt an overwhelming sense of fulfillment wash over him. This event was more than just a gathering, it was a movement, a celebration of hope that would ripple through their community long after today. As the day progressed, attendees mingled during breaks between storytelling sessions, sharing laughter and connecting over shared experiences. Big Mac moved through the crowd, engaging with people who had come out to support this initiative. One woman approached him with tears in her eyes. "Thank you for doing this," she said earnestly. "My daughter has struggled with her self-esteem for years, but hearing these stories today has given her hope." Big Mac smiled warmly at her words. This was exactly why he had embarked on this journey, to create spaces where individuals could find strength in vulnerability. As evening approached and golden hues painted the sky above them, Big Mac gathered everyone once more for closing remarks. "I want to thank each of you for being here today, for sharing your stories and supporting one another," he said sincerely. "This is just the beginning of something beautiful. Let's continue this conversation beyond today, let's keep lifting each other up." With that final message resonating in their hearts, attendees applauded enthusiastically before mingling once more under twinkling lights strung across trees in the park. As people began to leave, many approached Big Mac with words of gratitude, some even expressing interest in joining future planning sessions or sharing their own stories at upcoming events. Feeling invigorated by this overwhelming response from his community members, the very individuals who inspired him every day, Big Mac knew deep down that they were creating something lasting together. That night, after returning home from an unforgettable day filled with connection and inspiration, he reflected on how far they had come since that fateful encounter at the car dealership. The doubts expressed by Victor now seemed insignificant compared to what they had accomplished together. The ripple effect. The success of the Voices of Resilience event resonated throughout the community, sparking conversations and inspiring action far beyond what Big Mac had initially envisioned. In the days that followed, social media buzzed with posts highlighting the stories shared at the event. Local news outlets picked up the story, showcasing the initiative and its impact on the youth involved. Big Mac received messages from people he had never met, parents, educators, and community leaders, expressing their gratitude for the project. They shared how they had been moved by the stories and how they wanted to get involved in similar initiatives. It was a reminder that when one person steps up to make a difference, it can inspire countless others to do the same. One afternoon, as Big Mac sat in his favorite cafe reflecting on the whirlwind of activity since the event, he received a call from a local high school principal named Mrs. Thompson. She had seen the coverage of Voices of Resilience and wanted to discuss how her school could collaborate with Big Mac's initiative. "Mr. Carter, I'm so impressed with what you've accomplished," she said warmly over the phone. "Our students are facing many challenges, and I believe your program could provide them with a platform to share their experiences and connect with one another." Big Mac felt a surge of excitement at her words. "I'd love to help. We can organize workshops at your school where students can learn storytelling techniques and share their own narratives." Mrs. Thompson agreed enthusiastically, and they set a date for Big Mac to visit the school and introduce the program to the students. As he hung up the phone, he couldn't help but feel that this was yet another step in a journey that was only just beginning. A few days later, Big Mac arrived at Lincoln High School, greeted by a sea of curious faces. The principal had gathered a diverse group of students from various backgrounds, some shy, others eager to speak up. As he entered the auditorium, he felt a wave of nostalgia wash over him. It reminded him of his own high school days when he had first discovered his passion for basketball and mentorship. "Hey everyone!" Big Mac called out as he approached the microphone. "I'm here today because I believe in the power of your stories. Each one of you has something unique to share, something that can inspire others." He shared his own journey, detailing his rise from humble beginnings to becoming a professional athlete. He spoke candidly about facing adversity and how storytelling had played a crucial role in helping him navigate challenges. "I want you all to know that your experiences matter," he continued passionately. "Whether it's overcoming personal struggles or celebrating achievements, your voice has power." As he engaged with the students, Big Mac encouraged them to share their thoughts and feelings about storytelling. Hands shot up as they expressed their fears and hopes about sharing their stories publicly. "I'm scared people will judge me," one girl admitted hesitantly. "That's completely normal," Big Mac reassured her. "But remember, vulnerability is strength. When you share your truth, you open doors for connection and understanding." By the end of his presentation, students were buzzing with excitement. They divided into small groups to brainstorm potential stories they could tell, a mix of personal experiences and fictional narratives inspired by their lives. Over the next few weeks, Big Mac returned regularly to Lincoln High School to facilitate workshops where students practiced their storytelling skills. He introduced them to various techniques, how to structure a narrative, use emotion effectively, and connect with an audience. One student named Malik stood out during these sessions. He had a natural gift for storytelling but struggled with self-doubt stemming from his past experiences in foster care. "I don't think anyone will care about my story," Malik confessed one day after sharing a draft with Big Mac. Big Mac leaned forward earnestly. "Malik, your story is important because it's yours. There are countless people who have faced similar challenges who need to hear that they're not alone." With encouragement from Big Mac and his peers, Malik began to find confidence in his voice. He crafted a poignant narrative about resilience through adversity that moved everyone who heard it during their final workshop session. As they prepared for another public event showcasing student stories at Lincoln High School, word spread throughout the community once again. Parents were invited, local media were notified, even some local businesses offered sponsorships for refreshments. On the day of the event, excitement filled the air as students gathered in front of an audience made up of family members, friends, teachers, and even some community leaders who had come to support this initiative. Big Mac stood backstage watching as Malik took center stage for his performance. The young man's hands trembled slightly as he gripped the microphone but soon steadied himself with determination shining in his eyes. As Malik began recounting his journey through foster care, the struggles he faced along with moments of hope, the audience listened intently. Gasps echoed through the room at certain revelations, tears glistened in many eyes as emotions ran high. When Malik finished speaking amidst thunderous applause from everyone present, including Big Mac who felt an overwhelming sense of pride, he stepped off stage beaming like a star who had finally found his place in the universe. Following Malik's powerful performance came more stories from other students, each one unique yet connected by themes of resilience and hope that resonated deeply within every heart present that evening. As Big Mac wrapped up this remarkable event filled with laughter and tears alike, he couldn't help but reflect on how far they had come since that first gathering at the park months ago. The ripple effect was undeniable. The energy generated by these young storytellers would not only impact their lives but also inspire others throughout their community, perhaps even beyond its borders, as word spread about this initiative dedicated to uplifting voices often unheard. That night, after returning home filled with joy from witnessing such transformation unfold before him, Big Mac received yet another call, this time from Victor, the manager at that luxury car dealership where it all began. "Mr. Carter," Victor's voice came through hesitantly over the line. "I've been hearing things about your project. I'd like to meet." Big Mac paused momentarily before responding thoughtfully, "Sure thing. Let's talk." As he hung up feeling both surprised yet intrigued by Victor's request, it dawned on him how powerful this journey had been, not just for himself or those involved, but also potentially for someone like Victor who once judged him based solely on appearances alone. Bridging the gap. The following week, Big Mac found himself standing outside the luxury car dealership where his journey had taken an unexpected turn. The polished glass facade and gleaming vehicles inside felt like a stark contrast to the warmth and authenticity he had experienced in the community workshops. Yet, he was determined to approach this meeting with an open mind and heart. As he stepped inside, the familiar scent of leather and polished chrome enveloped him. Victor greeted him with a somewhat sheepish expression, a stark change from their previous encounter. "Thank you for coming, Mr. Carter," he said, extending a hand. "I appreciate you giving me a chance to talk." Big Mac shook Victor's hand firmly. "Of course. I believe in second chances." They moved to a private office adorned with awards and photographs of high-end cars. Victor gestured for Big Mac to sit down. "I've been hearing about your project, Voices of Resilience, and it's been making waves in the community," he began, his tone more respectful than before. "I'm glad to hear that," Big Mac replied, leaning forward. "It's been incredible to see how many young people have connected with their stories." Victor nodded, his expression thoughtful. "I'll admit, I made some snap judgments when you first walked into my dealership. I didn't see beyond your appearance or understand your intentions. But hearing about how you're empowering youth has changed my perspective." Big Mac appreciated Victor's honesty. It's easy to fall into that trap of judging others based on appearances or preconceived notions. But we all have stories that shape who we are. Victor took a deep breath, as if gathering courage. "I'd like to help support your initiative, maybe even sponsor some of your events or provide resources for your workshops." Big Mac was taken aback by the offer but felt a glimmer of hope at the possibility of bridging the gap between their worlds. "That would be amazing. We're always looking for ways to expand our reach and impact more lives." As they discussed potential collaborations, Victor shared his own story, a childhood marked by struggle and determination that had driven him to succeed in the luxury car industry. He spoke about how he had once felt lost and how mentorship had played a crucial role in his life. "I want to give back," Victor said earnestly. "I want to help young people who feel like they don't belong or who are struggling to find their way." Big Mac smiled, feeling a sense of camaraderie forming between them. "Your story matters too, Victor. Sharing it can inspire others who might feel judged or overlooked." The two men spent the next hour brainstorming ideas for future events, workshops where young people could learn not just storytelling but also skills related to entrepreneurship and career development in industries like automotive sales. As they wrapped up their meeting, Victor extended his hand once more. "Thank you for this opportunity, Big Mac. I look forward to working together and learning from each other. Me too, Big Mac replied warmly, shaking Victor's hand firmly once again. Leaving the dealership that day, Big Mac felt a renewed sense of purpose, a realization that change often begins with understanding and connection between individuals from different walks of life. In the weeks that followed, Big Mac and Victor collaborated on several initiatives that merged their worlds: community workshops held at the dealership where young people could learn about automotive careers, while also sharing their stories of resilience. The events drew diverse crowds, students from local schools mingling with professionals from various industries, all united by a common goal: fostering hope and inspiration through shared experiences. One evening, during one such workshop at the dealership, Big Mac stood before a group of eager students as they gathered around sleek cars on display. "Tonight is about more than just cars," he said passionately. "It's about finding your passion and believing in yourself, no matter where you come from or what challenges you face." Victor joined him on stage, sharing his own journey from humble beginnings to success in the luxury car industry, a narrative that resonated deeply with the audience. "I was once where you are now," he said earnestly. "But I learned that hard work and determination can open doors you never thought possible." As students engaged in hands-on activities, learning about car maintenance and sales techniques, the atmosphere buzzed with excitement and energy. They shared laughter while also reflecting on their personal journeys, bonding over shared experiences that transcended socioeconomic barriers. At one point during the evening, Malik stood up to share his story again, this time with newfound confidence after participating in multiple workshops since his initial performance at Lincoln High School. "I used to think my past defined me," Malik began, looking out at the crowd filled with supportive faces. "But now I know it's just part of my journey, not the end of it." His words echoed through the room as students nodded along. Many were visibly moved by his bravery in sharing such personal experiences. As Malik finished speaking amidst applause, Big Mac felt a surge of pride wash over him. It was moments like these that validated their efforts. Each story shared was another step toward breaking down barriers and fostering understanding within their community. As the night came to an end, attendees mingled over refreshments provided by local sponsors. Conversations flowed freely as connections were made between students and professionals alike. Big Mac stepped aside for a moment, observing the vibrant interactions taking place around him, the laughter, encouragements exchanged between strangers now turned friends, all stemming from this initiative rooted in storytelling and resilience. He caught sight of Victor across the room engaged in conversation with several students. There was an unmistakable warmth radiating from him now, a man transformed by connection and understanding. That evening marked not just another successful event but also a turning point, a reminder that when individuals come together with open hearts and minds, they can create lasting change within themselves and their communities.